Hi, I'm your virtual Ceph, and in this section, we're going to talk about deployment styles. Just so you know, this isn't a section specific to any AWS service, but is here to familiarize you with some of the common types of deployment styles you have available to you. The deployment styles we will cover are red-black deployments, blue-green deployments, and rolling deployments. Additionally, we're going to look at a canary instance and how that is used. Before we start, I want to mention up front that I won't be covering deployment styles to handle changes to a database. I am specifically looking at deploying application updates to your instances. One thing that I will mention is that you should handle changes to your database separately from your application changes whenever possible. This will simplify the overall process of making the big changes to your application environment. Let's get started. The first style we're going to look at is a rolling deployment. A rolling deployment is an in-place deployment style that allows you to keep the same number of instances, but deploy only to some at a time. Whether it is one at a time, three at a time, or half at a time, this gives you a great balance of cost and uptime for your application instances. With a rolling deployment, your changes are enacted on a small set of instances at a time, and the deployment doesn't move forward until that group of instances is successful. We will show a small demo of a rolling deployment in a demonstration using AWS CodeDeploy in our next section. The next two deployment styles that we are going to talk about, red-black and blue-green, are very similar. Both require you to create a second copy of your environment that's updated, and both use DNS or load balancing to move traffic from your original environment to the new environment. Additionally, both allow you to easily roll back simply by moving the traffic back to the original environment. The biggest difference between the two is that red-black is an instant cutover and blue-green is a gradual cutover. In red-black, you launch your second environment where the update is first deployed. Once the update is tested and ready to receive requests, you allow your DNS service or load balancer to start sending traffic to the new endpoint and instantly stop sending requests to the original environment. If no issues occur, the old environment can be discarded and all requests can now be served out of the new environment. With blue-green, the setup is the same. A new, updated environment is created and tested and monitored. Records are added to the DNS service or routing is updated in your application load balancer, and you're now ready to start receiving traffic. The difference here is that instead of a full and instant cutover, the new environment is receiving traffic in increments using weighted routing in your DNS service or by adjusting your load balancer configuration. Maybe it's with 5% of the traffic at first, and then 10%, and then 30%, and so on until all of the traffic is on the new environment. The benefit that you get is a smaller impact should errors start to occur, and you have the same rollback ability that you get with the red-black deployment styles. One major point to remember is that your old and new versions need to be able to work with the same dependencies, especially the database. There is a much higher success rate and much lower area of impact if they can both access the same backend database and other components. The final area we'll discuss here is the possibility of using a canary instance. A canary instance is when you launch an instance in your already existing environment, but the new instance is updated. Using this method allows you to test features and changes with low impact to your production environment before launching full environments or initiating full deployments. Well, that's all I have for now. Next, I'll show you a short example where you'll be able to see a rolling deployment of one at a time in action. I'll see you then.